Hi everyone, I'm Sophie Milburn, editor of the MSP Channel Insights portfolio, and I'm joined today by Martin from Cybanetix. Martin, would you be able to introduce yourself and your role at Cybanetix, as well a little bit about the company itself?
Yeah, no, I'm Martin Jakobsen. I'm the CEO and founder of Cybanetix. Generally, obviously, run the business day to day, but also very much taking up the technical, strategic direction of the business. As my background is CTO, Cybanetix is a high-end specialist MSSP, which focuses on delivering enterprise security, generally around monitoring, breach detection, incident response. 90% of our services comes from managing SOC operations for enterprises in the UK.
Can you describe Cybanetix's approach to managed security services and how it differentiates from traditional MSSPs and SIs?
Yeah, so I think the key differentiator is probably aspiration to work in complete partnership with our clients. By that, I mean, we have a commercial model that enables clients to not be charged for every change we do, not be charged for everything they want to change the scope or do some changes in the IT. And what that means is become this organization they call whenever changes are needed. It also means that they don't feel obliged to come with a purchase order in hand every time they come to us, and that enables for a very, very day-to-day good operation and partnership working with them. So the other thing is really our approach to delivering security services. We have adopted what we've termed a paranoid security posture for our clients, which is where on average, what we're finding is when we're taking over from other suppliers, we deal with 10 times as many alerts on the same client. And that's because we set up a posture that's significantly more paranoid with more detection rules. And I think one of the things that a lot of MSPs have been fighting with over the years is how to deal with the sheer volume of data that hits them from clients, and make it financially viable to run a service. So we have spent an awful lot of time on automation, AI, machine learning, processes, structure, training for SOC analysts to enable us to deal with these kind of volumes. But if you take the attacks of the last 12 months in the UK, what's very evident is that you can't simply expect one big alert to fire off and then detect a breach. They're attacking over a long period of time, and there might be a lot of potential points where you could have seen malicious activity, and yet it was missed by significant MSSPs. So we try and do more. We try and go deeper. We try and go wider in our monitoring posture, and I think that's one of the key differentiators.
Amazing. I've never had it described like that with the paranoid, but I guess it is being proactive with it, isn't it?
Yeah, I jokingly say Palo Alto came up with zero trust as a concept, and I guess the counter opposite, or the same, is paranoid, right? So we've adopted paranoid as a term of phrase.
I like that. And what are the biggest challenges that MSSPs face today in keeping pace with rapidly evolving cyber threats?
Several things. Obviously, the sophistication of attack is increasing. AI definitely has helped the adversaries before it's helped the good guys. And the second part of that is you've got a really competitive market with pricing coming down. So how do you do more and more, probably for less and less, while the complexity of the attacks gets deeper or wider and longer? And then the second part of that is you've got two types of MSSPs. You've got cookie cutter MSSPs that kind of deliver a very much black box service, and then you've got SIs and the more, let's say, bespoke MSSPs or tailored services. The problem is that the pace of change in clients is increasing. AI is just increasing the pace, and AI is becoming one of the biggest security threats in the short term because there's really nobody thinking about how to secure yourself against AI. So how do you deal with that in MSSP is, well, you need to be ahead of the game. You need to think, you need to try to think as an adversary. You need to stay on top of your customers and what changes they're introducing in their environments. And then you probably need to do all that within some sort of reasonably attractive commercial model that so clients don't insource if you're an MSSP. But frankly, if they insource, quite often they have the same commercial challenges, is that teams are trying to do more and more with the same amount of resource year on year.
Yeah. You mentioned the cookie cutter kind of MSPs. How can MSPs move away from cookie cutter services and offer more adaptable, tailored services?
If you cookie cut, you end up doing all the standard enterprise IT, so email security, end user, endpoint, and that's quite easy. And you can, there's a lot of generic use cases that you can solve for everyone. The problem is that most businesses, while they'll have a lot of sensitive information in their emails, they always have some crown jewel system. It could be their CRM system, it could be their production systems, it could be whatever, for retailers, online retailers, it would be their website itself. And that's always bespokely built because that's the IP of that business. And the problem is if you don't protect that, you're actually not protecting the crown jewels or the key part of that business. The thing that's most sensitive, the thing that takes that production or the revenue generation down. So, and the problem is that requires a lot of engineering effort, and then it requires understanding of databases, websites, front ends, back ends, firewalls, network, everything. And again, that comes back to you need the engineering capability broad and deep to be able to work with clients, because you end up sitting having conversations with some database developers who happen to develop a database that runs a £4 billion a year website. And guess what? They know more about database than you. So you need to know enough to talk to them. You need to know more about how to secure it than they do. And that takes time and effort and money at the end of the day.
Yeah. How do you see the threat landscape kind of evolving over the next 3 to 5 years? And what should MSSPs be preparing for now?
Obviously, it would be remiss of me not to say AI. AI, we're looking at in 3 distinct towers or buckets or silos, whatever you want to call it. One is end user AI. So how does you and me engage with ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, whatever, Grok, whatever is our poison? And do we exfiltrate data from inadvertently from the business? Do we generate code on open source platforms whereby we don't own the IP of that code anymore? Or do we put sensitive emails on corporate information, financial information into it, which we shouldn't be doing? So end user monitoring, I think it's going to be solved pretty quickly. There's already a lot of strides coming to solve that problem, but there's still a very massive problem because adoption is quick, protection is slow. The other part is people, you see businesses, everybody's like, we need to have AI in our business. They're sitting at board level saying, what's our AI story? Again, whether you're an online retailer, production, high finance, you need to have some sort of AI. So the board's saying, yeah, here you go. Here's 10 million, go and develop some AI capability in our business. And they forget to tell the cyber teams. And we are actively looking at how do you monitor AI. There's already evidence that some agents will have be really highly functional in terms of delivering things. So AI agents, but actually change persona after a year and then start doing different things. We've seen agents that can run ransomware on the fly in organizations. So obviously imagine you've taken AI, LLM in or an agent in, you connect it to your systems, and then suddenly a year later it starts actively writing ransomware after you connect it to all your systems and give it tons of privileges. So inside of AI, and right now it's a real gray area for enterprises because enterprises, they need to adopt AI. They need to do it quickly. It's been around for 3 years now, but there's really no security technologies around it to secure it. And we're starting to look at it. And fun enough, we just looked at a big enterprise. We did an inventory of AI, and they found 56 different LLMs and agents in the organization that didn't know they were using. Right. And that's because, again, end users wants to use it for whatever, you've got small development teams who are trying to embed the latest and greatest into their technology. And it's just happening. And if you take cloud, cloud's also still a problem that needs to be solved. It was 18 years between the first cloud service being launched by Amazon and Wiz, the Gartner cloud leader, being launched. 18 years gap between the best technology emerging for protecting yourself against cloud or for use of cloud. We're only 3 years into AI. If we wait another 15 years before we get security for AI, we're going to be in trouble. And then the last bit of our last pillar, so monitoring AI itself, monitoring end users' use of AI, and then obviously productivity. So how do AI SOC analysts are coming. If you're an SMB in cookie cutter, I think it's a threat to you because we're testing and playing with AI, fully autonomous SOC analysts. And for generic use cases, so email, end use stuff, it works quite well. For bespoke stuff, obviously any LLM in AI technology is kind of trained on the mass data and then assumes from that. So it's not very good at bespoking yet.
Mm.
So as an MSSP, I'm looking to adopt it to solve these use cases and then elevate my SOC analyst and my level ones to deal with more complex bespoke stuff, which is also then how you differentiate yourself from cookie cutter to more bespoke. But you need to, we're going to be embracing it as and when it's ready. We've got a pilot running all year with a particular technology we've chosen to work with an autonomous analyst. We're talking to clients because they're sensitive to sharing their security data with AI, of course.
Yeah.
So there's compliance and regulatory, considerations to come in as well.
Real.
That was a very long answer, sorry.
It was a great answer. No, it was fantastic. Thank you. I think that's all my questions. That was great. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. You're very welcome.